Okay guys, today we are going to dig into Warren Buffett's company Berkshire Hathaway and whether it could potentially be a buy in 2018. I'll let you know about the company and what it does and give you some important tips and thoughts before investing. If you want to see more videos like these, then consider subscribing to the channel. I generally do a couple a week. So what the heck is Berkshire Hathaway and why has the company got such a weird name? Berkshire Hathaway used to be a company that made textiles in the USA. Warren Buffett bought it originally as a good value investment, but the company was always going out of business. The Chinese could always make the product at a fraction of the price. So what did Warren Buffett do? He turned it into a multinational conglomerate holding company. Yep, sounds confusing, but basically it's just an investing company that buys out a bunch of other businesses. Berkshire Hathaway has bought out Geico, Dairy Queen, NetJets, and a bunch of other giant companies. They also own a large portion of shares in the biggest companies of the world. These include 9.4% in Coke, just under 10% in Wells Fargo, and 2.6% in the biggest company in the world, Apple. So as you can see, it's an investing company, and it's particularly focused towards long-term investing. So who does this investing for Berkshire Hathaway? That's easy. The greatest investor of all time, Warren Buffett, and his team of investing geniuses, including Charlie Munger. So if you're a fan of Buffett, this might be a stock you want to consider holding. Alright, let's get into some things we would want to consider before buying Berkshire Hathaway stock. I think you guys all know what a share buyback is. It's when a company buys back its own shares. Now, Berkshire Hathaway's head investor, Warren Buffett, is allowed to purchase as many of the company's own shares if the price to book value is below 1.2. Important point, below 1.2. This means that the company would be so undervalued that Berkshire Hathaway would be willing to buy back its own shares because the price is so good. Now, currently the price to book value is 1.38, meaning it's not too far away from the 1.2 figure. And the 1.2 figure is when the shares are well undervalued and at a very cheap price. So 1.38 is a reasonable distance away and could potentially still be considered underpriced, especially in this current market. Okay, the next thing I wanted you guys to consider is that Warren Buffett is an expert at knowing when prices are expensive, when to sell, when to hold, and when to buy. And here's the person that has probably benefited the most ever from market crashes. He made a lot of money in the dot-com bubble crash where value investments were cheap, and also made a ton in the housing bubble crash. So with a market crash potentially coming in the next couple of years, this might be a good time to take a position in Berkshire Hathaway, and when it makes money in the market crash, so will you. Now, a big question on everyone's lips is what happens to the company when Buffett dies? Will it still be able to do as well without Buffett? Now, the thing about Buffett is that he is a people person. Most know him for being an amazing investor, but what they don't realize is that he is an amazing businessman as well. He has set up one of the most successful businesses in the world and partnered with some of the best business people in the world. And it seems that he has sewn a system that will be able to keep going even when he is dead. He's got amazing investors like Ted and Todd with him, and amazing business people like Greg Abel and Ajit Jan, one of which will take over from him. So if you trust Buffett and the values he espouses, then I don't see a reason not to back Berkshire Hathaway for the long term. Seems to be one of the better shares out there. Lastly, lately we've seen the price of Berkshire Hathaway decrease. It has dropped by 6% since March and almost 8% since February. This leaves the stock currently selling for a price of $200. I'm going to finish with the wise words of Warren Buffett's mentor, Ben Graham, ringing in your ears. Sell to the optimists and buy from the pessimists. Now, are the shares low, pessimistic, and cheap enough to be considered a buy? I'll leave that for you to decide. We're still in an expensive market, but I think this is one of the better stocks out there.